Single dad discovers heartwarming truth. His new babysitter is the CEO's daughter in disguise. Jason sat at his kitchen table, piles of bills looming like storm clouds. The warm summer breeze drifted through the open window, but the weight of the world pressed heavy on his shoulders. He glanced at Lily, her laughter tinkling in the air as she played with her dolls on the living room floor. Her face lit up with innocent joy, a stark contrast to the worry lines etched across his forehead. He had to be her rock, even in the chaos of single fatherhood. Then came Emma, the high school girl from down the street. With her easy smile and caring nature, she swept into their lives like a ray of sunshine. Lily adored her immediately. Their pizza dinners turned into movie nights, filled with laughter that echoed through their hearts. Jason watched as Emma played with Lily, the two of them nestled on the couch, sharing secrets and popcorn. It felt like a gentle balm on his soul, a reminder that life still had sweetness. Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that is happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who is on the other side of the screen. Now let us continue. But soon the tranquility shattered. News from the local Chamber of Commerce splashed across Jason's mind like cold water. Zoning laws threatened his small hardware store, his lifeline to the neighborhood he loved. He wrestled with the thought of closing his doors, letting the community he fought for slip away. Even worse, he learned Emma's father was the powerful CEO pushing these changes, a name that sent shockwaves through the town like thunder. As Jason rallied the neighborhood, heart pounding, he fought against the tide of disappointment. Doubts spiraled in his mind, weighing heavily on his heart. How could he support a friendship with someone whose family threatened his livelihood? The community event felt more like a battleground. Voices clashed, cries for justice echoed. Then Emma stood up, her confidence emerging like a phoenix. "Dad, this isn't right," she pleaded, but the truth crystallized around Jason like a jagged ice. She was his friend, yet the daughter of the enemy. Shock rippled through the crowd. Whispers tore at the very fabric of their once blissful companionship. Now, faced with the devastating truth, Jason's heart dredged through turmoil. Had he been naive to trust Emma? Did their laughter mean anything in light of her father's actions? As he wrestled with anger and betrayal, Lily stood quietly, eyes wide with confusion. He could feel the weight of teaching her compassion, resilience, and forgiveness pressing down on his shoulders. It was a lesson that loomed larger than he ever imagined, carving pathways through the complexities of privilege and empathy. In the silence that followed, Jason fought to reclaim the narrative. Could he truly gauge Emma's character beyond her family's shadow? The storm had only begun, and Jason was left holding the fractured pieces of his shattered belief in friendship. With the future of his community swirling in chaos, he took a deep breath, ready to face whatever came next. Jason stood at the edge of the bustling crowd, the tension palpable in the air. His heart raced, an odd mixture of loyalty and conflict swirling within him. He couldn't let Emma's brave stand go without some sort of acknowledgement, but how could he, when everything felt so fractured? The moment hung heavy as Emma's father leaned back in his seat, his expression a blend of arrogance and indifference. Did he see his daughter's struggle? Or was she simply another pawn in his corporate game? Jason felt a surge of protectiveness. Emma deserved better. But what could he say? The friendship they had built over laughter and pizza now felt like a distant memory, crushed beneath the weight of family legacy. Lily tugged at Jason's sleeve, her small fingers trembling. "Daddy, is Emma in trouble?" she whispered, her big eyes filled with worry. Jason knelt next to her, desperate to shield her from the turmoil around them. He wanted to assure her that everything would be okay, but the words caught in his throat. "No, honey. She's just trying to help." But was she? Across the expanse of the gathering, Emma spotted him. Their eyes locked for a fleeting moment, and her expression shifted from determination to a flicker of sadness. It was a heart-stopping moment, one that conveyed the turmoil between them, fear of heritage and the hope of friendship. "Jason!" Emma called, stepping forward with her chin held high. She pushed through the masses until she stood beside him, breathless and fiery. "We can still talk about this. We can fight against my dad's plans together." He felt the fire in her words, yet doubt coursed through him. "But your dad, he's the one causing all this," he replied, casting a glance back at the man who had brought fear to his small community. "How can I trust you when your family's decisions are dismantling everything I've built?" Emma flinched, hurt evident on her face. "I understand why you feel that way, but I've been trying to show you that I'm not him. I don't believe in what he's doing. I want to help. Don't you see?" Lily, sensing the rising tension, interjected, "But you're friends. Right, Daddy? Friends help each other." The innocent plea from his daughter made Jason's heart ache. How could he explain the complexity of their situation to her? He looked between them, the weight of his decision pressing heavily upon him. "Maybe we can find a way to talk together, Emma, away from all this." Hope flickered in Emma's eyes. "Yes, I'd like that," she said softly. Before they could say anything more, a commotion erupted nearby as a few townsfolk confronted the CEO. The cries for justice grew louder, drowning out their conversation. Jason felt his throat tighten as he watched the chaos unfold. It was a reminder of what was truly at stake: his livelihood, his daughter's happiness, and the bonds of friendship that now hung precariously in the balance. As the crowd surged with emotion, Jason knew that this was only the beginning of a storm that would test the fabric of their lives. Would the friendship they had forged stand the test of betrayal and loyalty? Taking a deep breath, he turned to Emma, their eyes locking once more. "We need to find a way, Emma. Not just for us, but for everyone." And in that moment filled with uncertainty, he realized that their journey was just beginning. But could either of them escape the shadows of their past and truly draw a line between friendship and blood? Jason stayed with his eyes fixed on Emma, a force pulling him closer to her amidst the chaos. He could feel the tension crackling in the air, the weight of the crowd pressing in on them, every shouted demand and anguished cry echoing his inner turmoil. "Let us step back," he suggested, gently urging her toward the outskirts of the crowd. "We can think better away from all this." The turmoil surrounding them felt stifling, as if their very voices were getting lost in the din. With a quick nod, Emma let him lead her to a quieter spot, the shouts growing muffled as they distanced themselves from the heart of the protest. Here, the relentless noise faded to a background hum. She faced him, her determination beginning to waver, allowing vulnerability to slip through the cracks of her fierce exterior. "Thank you for listening," Emma said, her voice soft but steady. "I know it's hard for you to see me as anything but my father's daughter, but I'm not him. And I can't just stand by." He opened his mouth to respond, but his heart fought against his words. "I want to believe you, Emma. I really do. But how can I? Because I'm here," she interrupted, her eyes bright with passion and pain. "I want to be here. For this town. For you. And for Lily." The mention of his daughter felt like a lifeline thrown amidst churning waters. "I just want her future to be safe, Emma," Jason admitted, his voice cracking slightly. "What's the point of fighting when it feels like we're both so trapped?" Emma stepped closer. "We can't let fear dictate our lives," she said, her voice stronger now. "Taking a stand means risking everything. It might mean standing up to my dad, too." A fire ignited within Jason, one that shimmered with the possibility of something greater. "But how? He has the power to crush whatever we try to build here. And what will it mean for you?" "I've thought about that," she reassured him, "and I'm willing to take that risk. If it means protecting our community. If it means—" Emma stopped, her breath catching as she raked her fingers through her hair, clearly torn between commitment and fear. Jason felt a flicker of admiration. "That's incredibly brave, Emma. But bravery comes with consequences. I don't want to put you in harm's way." In that moment, Lily appeared around the corner, her small figure illuminated by the evening sun. "Daddy, can we go home now?" she asked, her face a mix of confusion and concern. The innocence in her voice broke the heavy tension. Jason crouched down to meet her eye level. "We'll be home soon, sweetheart." "Just a minute." He turned back to Emma, searching her eyes for an answer. "What do we say to her?" Emma leaned down to Lily's height, a gentle smile emerging. "We tell her that we're going to solve a big problem together. That we're going to help everyone, including you." Lily's eyes lit up, grounding the moment with her boundless hope. "Okay. Together we can do anything." She clapped her hands in excitement. Jason chuckled, the heaviness in his chest easing for a moment. "Then we have to figure out what that anything looks like." The resolve returned to Emma's eyes. "We start by gathering everyone who has been affected. We rally them. We share the truth." His stomach twisted with uncertainty, yet he felt the pull of hope. The strength of their voices united could become louder than the ones trying to break them. Could they truly go up against her father? With Lily between them, Jason reached for Emma's hand, feeling a strange warmth radiating from the small gesture. "Then let us do this. Together." Emma nodded, determination setting in the lines of her face as they moved back toward the commotion, energized by purpose. But as they stepped closer to the chaos again, Jason's stomach lurched at the sight of someone he recognized. Someone who could change everything. "Emma, wait. It's your father. He is coming this way." Jason's heart raced as he caught sight of Emma's father weaving through the crowd. The man's presence was like a dark cloud overhead, looming ominously as he made his way toward them. Jason felt the warmth of Emma's hand slip away as her features tightened, uncertainty creeping into her eyes. "Stay behind me," he whispered to her, instinctively trying to shield her from the impending confrontation. But Emma shook her head, her resolve hardening. "No. I'm not hiding. This is my fight too," she said, stepping forward with a fierce glare, determination shining brighter than ever. "Emma, please." Jason's voice was urgent, filled with a mix of fear and desperation. He had seen enough of the man's cold demeanor to know that this wouldn't end well, but she held her ground. "I have to do this. For Lily. For everyone." The collecting crowd began to murmur as the elder Kingston approached. His tailored suit stood in stark contrast to the chaos surrounding them. He looked every bit the powerful businessman that he was, and the air around him shimmered with authority. "Emma?" he called out, an unyielding command in his voice. "What are you doing here? You shouldn't be involved in this." His eyes darted to Jason, a glimmer of recognition sparking within their depths. "And you? You need to steer clear of my daughter." "Dad, I'm not a child anymore. This is about more than just you and me." Emma squared her shoulders, her voice steadying. Against the backdrop of the scattered protesters, they felt like the only two people there, ensnared in a web of conflict that threatened to unravel all they had fought for. Jason watched the exchange unfold, his heart pounding as he feared for Emma's safety. "Enough!" Kingston snapped, tension crackling between them like a live wire. "You don't know what you're getting into. You'll regret this. Regret for wanting to stand up for what is right. For our community?" Emma shot back, fearlessness radiating from her. "You don't get to dictate that anymore." Lily stood wide-eyed, taking in the scene, her innocent bubble suddenly shattered. Jason instinctively knelt down to her level, trying to shield her from the brewing storm. "Sweetheart," he murmured, "let us step back for a moment." But Lily was transfixed by the confrontation, her gaze darting between her father and Emma's father. The child's innocence mixed with confusion ignited a flicker of anger in Jason's chest. How dare he put her through this? "I'll find a way to help all of us," Emma continued, her voice rising above the tremors of the crowd. "You might think you can silence us, but we are stronger than you think." A ripple of support began to crackle through the people nearby, some recognizing Emma's courage. They stepped forward, emboldened by her words. "Emma?" Kingston warned, his voice edged with both fury and fear. "You're playing with fire." Jason felt his stomach twist painfully. The turning tide of the crowd could empower Emma, but would it be enough to stand up to someone so powerful? And then he saw it, fear flickering in Emma's father's eyes. Just for a moment, it was there, clear and undeniable. Let me show you something, Jason said, suddenly standing tall beside Emma, echoing her strength. If it means protecting our families, we're willing to take the risk. As the crowd began to rally around them, the palpable tension fizzled just slightly, transforming into something more hopeful. Jason turned his gaze to Emma, silently communicating that they were in this together. But as the crowd began to chant Emma's name, he noticed Kingston step back, calculating, words stalled on his lips. The scene opened a new door, but what lay beyond it was unclear, and Jason could feel the weight of their decisions pressing down on them heavily. Are you ready to fight? Emma asked, eyes locked onto Kingston, unwavering. Before Jason could respond, Kingston's next move came faster than he could anticipate. Then let us see what happens next, he sneered, drawing back slightly, a cold smile playing on his lips that sent chills down Jason's spine. What did that mean? Was he about to make a move that would change everything? The crowd's chant grew louder, an anthem of defiance echoed against the dark backdrop of Kingston's looming presence. Emma? Emma? They called her name like a lifeline tossed into the turbulent waters of their fight. Jason felt the weight of their gazes on him and Emma, the hopes swirling in the atmosphere. Yet doubt flared within him. Was it enough? Was standing up to Kingston, a man who wielded power like a weapon, truly their best shot? Is that all you have? Kingston taunted, his expression turning from fury to an unsettling calm, as if he relished this confrontation. I've seen better theatrics from children. Emma's jaw clenched. We're not backing down. This is bigger than you. Her voice ricocheted in the charged silence that followed, a challenge that stretched like taut strings ready to snap. Bigger than me? You're playing a dangerous game, Emma. His voice dripped with condescension. You think a few cheers from the crowd will change anything? I can make your life hell. Jason could feel the raw energy crackling, the crowd hanging on every word. They were on the cusp of something monumental, yet the stakes hovered like dark storm clouds, impending and electric. Is that a threat? Emma shot back, her chin raised defiantly. I'm not afraid of you or what you can do. Jason admired her courage, but fear gnawed at him. Every instinct shrieked to protect her, to pull her aside and shield her from the fallout of this encounter. He leaned closer, whispering earnestly, Emma, we need to think this through, but she shook her head. No, Jason. This is where I draw the line. If I don't stand up now, what will it mean for everyone else? Just then, Kingston's face twisted into a sneer, his eyes flicking toward Lily. The movement was almost imperceptible, but instinctively, Jason stood, blocking the little girl from the sight of her grandfather. Leave her out of this, he warned, feeling the heat of that cold stare. Family is everything, Kingston replied, his tone condescending. Perhaps it is time you learned that lesson. The crowd gasped collectively, and Jason's heart sank. Kingston had just stepped into dangerous territory. Swinging emotions can do that: one moment unity and resolve, the next, sheer panic as realization washed over them. Lily was caught in the middle. Dad, stop it! Emma yelled again, stepping forward. This isn't how you handle things. This isn't how we do things anymore. Kingston's brow furrowed, showing a flicker of confusion. You think you can rally people like this? You think you can convince them to fight back against me and my resources? People are stronger than you think. Emma cried, her voice rising, unabashed passion swirling in her words. She pointed at the growing crowd. They will join us because they believe in something better. The rumble of agreement hummed among the onlookers, but Kingston was unfazed, flicking his wrist as if swatting away a pesky fly. You'll find out soon enough the price of your righteousness. His words struck like a bell tolling in bitter silence. Jason's stomach twisted, an all too familiar feeling creeping in the moment when the illusion of safety unraveled. Come on, let us go, he urged, gripping Emma's arm lightly, trying to pull her back. Don't engage him any further. But she didn't budge. Her eyes were fierce, resolute. I'm not backing down, Jason. I won't let him intimidate me. At that moment, Kingston took a measured step back, the smile on his lips splitting wider, almost predatory. Then let us see how strong your fight really is. You want to play? Fine. But I suggest you prepare for the fallout. A chill slithered down Jason's spine as Kingston turned sharply, retreating into the moving mass of bodies. The air felt electric, charged with the consequences of defiance, and Jason's heart thudded heavily against his ribs. Emma? He called, panic slicing through him, the fear of losing the hold they had on this fragile hope suddenly looming large. The fight they wanted might just lead to them losing everything. Her eyes shimmered. We can't give up now, Jason, not when we are so close. But in the back of his mind, shadows lurked, whispering doubts. What if this escalated? What if Kingston had more in store than anyone could predict? Could they really fight against such a powerful force without paying the ultimate price? The crowd roared around them, but it all felt so fragile. As they held their ground together, a single question loomed, echoing in Jason's mind, threatening to drown out the cheers. Could they withstand the storm that was coming? The sun dipped lower in the sky, casting long shadows as tension crackled in the air. The crowd felt restless, the chants slowly fading into a low murmur of uncertainty. Jason's heart raced, a wild beat urging him to act, to protect Emma, to protect Lily. He could hardly breathe. Then, with a sudden jolt, a loud crack rang out, cutting through the atmosphere like a knife. A rock thrown by someone aimless and reckless clattered near Kingston's feet. Hatred and defiance twisted in the air, thick and heavy. Kingston's gaze snapped back to Emma, eyes narrowing with malicious intent. Is this how you inspire your followers? He spit out, his stare cold. You let chaos rule? You'll regret this. Jason took a step forward, fists clenched. You don't scare us, Kingston. You can't keep using fear to manipulate everyone. The crowd tensed, eyes shifting toward Jason, anticipation swirling. Some began to nod, emboldened by his words, while others still clung to their reservations, fear gnawing at them. Emma stepped close to Jason, her voice low but fierce. We have to keep this going. Fear is what he thrives on. We're stronger than this. But was it enough? They were barely hanging on to a delicate balance. Jason glanced back towards Lily, whose small face was alight with confusion. She was too young to understand the full weight of the fear looming overhead. Mom! Lily's voice rang out suddenly, breaking through the thick fog. A wave of panic swept through Jason, and he instinctively reached for her. No, Lily, stay with me, he said, his voice strained. But she was already breaking from his grasp, her small feet darting towards the front where Kingston stood, looming like a storm. Lily! Jason shouted, feeling the ground shift beneath him. The situation was spiraling. Kingston's eyes lit with a sadistic thrill as he leaned down towards his granddaughter. Come here, sweetheart, he crooned, voice dripping with false warmth. Why don't you join me? These people are too blind to see the truth. A visceral wave of protectiveness surged through Jason, a deep need to shield Lily from that poisonous charm. He surged forward, heart racing, but Emma held him back with a firm grip. Jason, no! We can't rush in blindly. We need a plan, Emma urged, her eyes fierce and clear. Plan? We need to get her out of there, Jason retorted, frustration boiling. Each second felt like a lifetime as Kingston gestured grandly to the crowd. Everyone, bear witness, Kingston continued, voice rising, theatrics in full force. Watch how the weak crumble under the real power. Watch as families betray one another. The crowd sagged, uncertainty flickering in their eyes like candle flames in danger of being snuffed out. Emma? Jason pleaded, urgency spilling from his lips. We have to do something before he turns this place into a circus of fear. Trust me, she whispered fiercely, a determined fire behind her gaze. We fight with our words, not with reckless abandon. We're bigger than this. We can sway them back. With one final glance at Lily's frightened face peeking nervously from behind Kingston, Jason swallowed his fear, returning his focus on Emma. The people standing behind us are waiting to follow, to believe in something again, Emma urged, her voice clear and unwavering. As if sparked by her words, a few among the crowd rallied, their voices rising once more. Emma? Emma? They called, a pulse of belief surging through the throng. Jason watched, filled with an aching mixture of hope and dread. But Kingston, his smile twisted and menacing again, turned toward the crowd. "Can you see them? Look at their weak resolve," he shouted, attempting to drown out the renewed chant. "This is a lost cause. You are following a dream that will only lead to despair." With every word, Jason felt a tight knot form in his stomach. How could they possibly stand against Kingston's depth of influence? Then Emma raised her arms, pleading for silence. "I'm not just a figurehead," she began, her voice cutting through the noise. "I'm one of you. I've felt the pain you've felt. Together, we can change this." Jason's heart raced as she spoke. He could see the fire in her eyes, could feel the hope building around them like a tide. But just then, a shadow loomed large in the crowd, and Jason's breath caught in his throat. Kingston's laughter rang out, chilling and taunting. "Well, my dear Emma, let us see just how united yours truly is." As the crowd stilled, all eyes on Kingston, Jason's heart pounded. What was the next move? How far would Kingston go to tear them apart? It felt like the climax of a storm, the moment before lightning struck, and in that silence, a new doubt flickered within Jason. Could their resolve withstand the darkness that Kingston was about to unleash? Jason's heartbeat echoed in his ears as Kingston's voice washed over the crowd. It was a deep, menacing spell he cast, a blend of charm and danger that threatened to pull everyone under. He could feel Emma's tension beside him, her hands trembling slightly as she fought to take control of the gathering. Lily, oblivious to the brewing storm, stood frozen, her tiny frame highlighted against Kingston's imposing shadow. Jason's pulse quickened. He needed to get to her, to pull her back to safety. But Emma needed him too. She was standing on the front lines, a fierce warrior armed only with her words against a man who wielded fear like a weapon. "Listen!" Emma shouted, her voice cutting through the tension. "We've seen what happens when we let fear guide us. We are stronger together." For a moment there was a flicker of response from the crowd, a few hoarse shouts of agreement, their strength igniting like sparks. But Kingston's laughter rang out again, sharper this time. "You think they want your truth, Emma? They want power, they crave strength." His eyes glinted with malice as he leaned towards Lily. "Isn't that right, sweetheart? You want to feel strong, don't you?" None of this made sense to her young mind, yet a flood of insecurity washed over Jason. Would his daughter believe Kingston? Would she choose power over love? His legs felt like lead as he fought an instinct to barrel through the crowd. Emma squeezed his arm, a silent reminder, "Stay. Look around you." Emma shouted more fiercely, her spirit radiating off of her. "Power built on fear is never real strength. Who do you want to be?" Jason marveled at her resilience. She was brave, more than anyone he'd ever known. And yet, he felt the tightness in his chest again, realizing just how far they were from solid ground. Was it even possible to turn this tide? A few of the crowd responded, murmuring apprehensive agreements, glancing at one another, as if they were waking from a deep slumber. But Kingston merely sneered, stoking the flames of dissent. "And what will she give you? Hope? Hopelessness is the only guarantee." He lifted his hand, and the crowd abruptly fell silent. Kings had ruled with swords and armies in history. Kingston wielded words with chilling precision. Jason's breath came quick and shallow as he sensed the imminent storm. "Let us see how quickly hope crumbles," Kingston shouted, his voice roiling like thunder. Suddenly, from the back of the crowd, he clapped his hands together, and at that moment, two figures stepped forward, intimidating, armed. "Watch," Kingston commanded, fingers pointing towards two men who now loomed over the crowd. "This is who you must fear." Jason's protective instincts erupted, and he wrested free from Emma's hold, unable to stand and watch the outcome of this showdown. "No!" he shouted, pushing through the confused crowd. "Jason!" Emma's voice broke through, husky and desperate, but he couldn't stop. His only thought was of Lily, of getting to her before anything happened. The murmurs turned chaotic, and he felt the surge of panic rising around him. Lily's wide eyes met his, filled with confusion. Dad? Her voice quavered. Get back! He yelled, his heart thundering. He could feel the uncertainty bearing down on his shoulders while he fought against it. He would not let fear win. With a fierce determination surging through him, Jason took a step forward. Maybe it was reckless. Maybe it was foolish. But the chance of losing Lily, of letting Kingston's poisoned words shape her future, was something he couldn't bear. Just as the tension reached its peak, Emma called out, "Stay with me." Together. In that moment, Kingston's smile faded slightly as Jason charged ahead, all fears ignited into a blazing purpose. Was he too late? Would stepping into the fray help or hurt? With every step he fought through doubt, heart racing, ready to reclaim not just his daughter, but the hope they had fought so hard to revive. And above the din, Kingston's voice rose again, a match thrown into a powder keg. Let us see who really stands when the darkness comes. The crowd held its breath, teetering on the brink. Would they break, or would they rise? In that charged moment, everything hinged on the next choice. Was it really possible to find strength in unity? Jason's feet pounded against the ground as he pushed through the chaos. Every instinct screamed at him to protect Lily, to gather her in his arms and shield her from Kingston's poison. Fear simmered in the air, thick enough to choke. He could see her still standing, eyes wide and apprehensive, as if she was caught in the crossfire of a battle she couldn't comprehend. "Lily!" he shouted, using every ounce of strength in his voice. "Come to me! Now!" But Kingston stepped between them like a wall. "Why would she want to leave, Jason? She can be anything she wants here. Strength, respect, power. It's all at her fingertips." Lily's gaze flickered from him to Kingston, uncertainty clawing at her young heart. Jason felt the cold grip of dread wrap around him. What if Kingston's words stuck? What if she chose this illusion of strength over the real love he offered? "Sweetheart," Kingston continued, his tone sugary sweet yet oozing with menace, "your dad is scared. He's weak. You don't want to be like him, do you?" "Shut up." Jason's voice trembled with rage. "You don't know anything about being strong. You hide behind threats. That's not strength." For a moment, silence swallowed Kingston's spell, and the crowd swayed uncertainly, like reeds in the wind. Jason locked eyes with Emma over Kingston's shoulder. She nodded subtly, promising she was fighting her own battle to keep the crowd steady. "Lily," Jason said, his voice softer, the fierce edge softened by desperation. "You are strong. You don't need to fear him or anyone else. You know that, right? Strength isn't about power, it's about love, kindness, and choosing what's right." His words hung in the air, fragile yet vibrant, as he watched Lily's face transform from shock to reflection. Kingston squinted, ready to resume his sinister onslaught. "Look at your father, Lily. He's unarmed and alone." Kingston boomed, as though he could drown out Jason's truth with sheer volume. "You don't want to follow a loser, do you?" A flicker of movement caught Jason's attention just beyond Kingston. Some of the crowd appeared to stir, inching closer to him and Emma, newfound courage sparking within them. A murmur of dissent amongst Kingston's thugs started to rise, the control Kingston exerted beginning to fray. "Don't listen to him," Emma yelled, voice unwavering, forging a path of hope. "Together, we can be stronger than fear. Together, we can shut her up." Kingston's voice roared, eyes narrowing at Emma as if to squash her spirit like a bug beneath his boot. But before he could lash out, Jason took a step forward, narrowing the distance between him and Kingston. He wouldn't let fear win over hope. Not with his daughter watching. A ripple surged through the crowd, and fingers pointed at Jason, whispers burgeoning into full shouts of support for him and Emma. They were on the verge, standing on the precipice of change. "Join us," Jason called, his heart pounding loudly enough that even Kingston had to hear it. "Join us if you believe in something greater than fear. Stand for love, for family, and for each other." Just then, a voice yelled from the back of the crowd, "You're right. This isn't who we want to be." The response was explosive, people stepping forward, their own courage igniting. Jason's heart swelled as he looked back to Lily, who now had a glimmer of understanding in her eyes. But then Kingston laughed, an unsettling sound that echoed like thunder. You think this is a fairy tale? You have no idea what I've planned. You're all inches away from disaster. The crowd faltered for a heartbeat, uncertainty creeping back in. Kingston knew how to manipulate them. He thrived on chaos and fear like a hungry wolf. Jason locked gazes with Lily. In that moment, he knew they had to move. Lily, come to me now. And just as she hesitated, Kingston stepped toward her, a predator stalking its prey. The moment shattered Jason lunging forward, fear roaring in his ears. Would they break free, or would Kingston's darkness consume them all? Jason's breath caught in his throat as the tide turned. The decision was just out of reach. Would his daughter step forward into the light, or risk everything chasing a mirage of power? As Jason lunged forward, a surge of adrenaline pushed him, every muscle screaming for action. Time seemed to stretch, each second weighted with consequence. He could see Kingston's menacing grin widening, feeding off the tension in the air. But Jason's focus was solely on Lily. Lily! He called again, the desperation cutting through the crowd like a knife. You know I love you! But love is risk, it's trust. Part of him wondered if he was being foolish, risking everything just to get to her. But the deep-seated conviction in his heart knew there was no other way. He could be the weary fighter for their family or watch his daughter grasp onto Kingston's twisted vision of power, potentially losing her to chaos forever. Lily's eyes darted back to Kingston, who shifted to block Jason. What your father wants is to make you weak, Lily. He wants to drain your strength just like the world has drained his. Kingston's voice was a poisonous whisper, trying to wrap around her like a snake. Yet, within that moment, something shifted in Lily. His heart nearly stopped as her face firmed, her tiny frame standing resolutely. It was a flicker of the girl he knew, the one full of light and determination. I don't want to be like you, she yelled, her voice ringing out strong and clear. The declaration sent shockwaves through the crowd, the flickering embers of courage suddenly igniting into flames. Jason felt a wave of relief wash over him, his heart bursting with pride. That's it, Lily! He yelled. You're so much more than that. The energy in the crowd shifted, a growing wave of agreement swelling. People were stepping forward. We don't need to bow to fear, one man shouted. Together, we rise. Jason turned his head slightly to catch Emma's eye. She managed a weak smile, raising her fist in solidarity. In that moment, they were not just a father and daughter. They were a part of something larger, a community seeking hope beyond fear. Kingston's expression darkened, realizing he was losing control. No! This is not how it's going to end. You are all pawns in this game. He spat, frustration boiling over. Better to be a pawn together than a king standing alone, Jason shot back, anger flaring. He stepped closer, creating a defensive front between Kingston and Lily. You've ruled with fear for too long, and we've seen through your lies. The crowd erupted in cheers of support, affirming Jason's resolve. Each voice building on the other until it became a chorus of rebellion, a beautiful cacophony against Kingston's oppressive silence. Yet just as hope surged, Kingston's laughter sliced through the air like ice. You think you've won? You have no idea what I have planned for you. He backed away, gesturing toward a darkened alley where shadows loomed ominously. Don't listen to him, Jason shouted. He feeds on our doubts. We're stronger than he could ever imagine. Just then, Lily's hand found Jason's. It felt like a spark igniting the flame inside him. I trust you, Dad, she said softly. Let us go. With her declaration, it felt like the whole atmosphere shifted. The crowd responded, lifting their heads, standing straighter as they made their choice. Together, they stepped towards the light, towards the unknown, leaving Kingston's oppressive grasp behind. But just as they moved past Kingston, a deafening explosion echoed from the alley, shaking the ground beneath their feet. The moment froze. Dust swirled up, silhouettes of chaos against the dawn. Jason's heart folded in on itself. Was this truly the moment they had been waiting for, or was it an illusion spiraling out of control? As the smoke started to clear, he realized this fight was far from over. Would they find their way through the dark, or had they just unleashed a greater storm? Jason struggled to process the chaos erupting in front of him. Dust hung in the air, thick and acrid. He could feel the warmth of fear radiate through the gathered crowd, a shared unease that settled heavily across their shoulders. The explosion had ripped apart the moment of victory they had all woven together, a fragile tapestry that now felt in tatters. "Let us go," Jason urged, gripping Lily's hand tighter as he led her toward the safety of the crowd. Emma was right beside them, her expression fierce yet uncertain, but there was something else in her eyes, a flicker of hope that refused to be extinguished. The townsfolk began to move, forming a united front against the chaos. As they pushed through the haze, Jason could feel the trembling energy around him shift. The fear that had threatened to consume them transformed into a solid resolve. People were bolstered by each other's strength, and Jason heard voices shouting encouragement, reclaiming their power. "He doesn't own us. Fight back." In that moment, Jason understood deeply the bonds they formed were made stronger by shared struggles, not weakened by them. He stole a glance at Lily. Her face was flushed, her wide eyes still shimmering with innocence, but behind that gaze lay a burgeoning understanding of the world beyond them. "Keep moving, sweetheart," he whispered, tension in his voice. "Stay close." As they made their way through the dissipating dust, Jason felt a presence approaching from the alley. Kingston's silhouette emerged, framed by the chaos. His eyes glinted with something dark, a dangerous resolve that made Jason's heart race. The man was a predator, desperate to regain control. "This isn't over," Kingston called out, his voice cutting through the remaining murmurs. "You're all making a mistake. This isn't how it's meant to be. You'll regret this fight." With every word, Kingston tried to sow doubt. Jason held tightly to Emma's hand, his heart racing again, not out of fear, but out of fierce determination. Kingston didn't understand the tenacity of a united community. "Those who stand with truth do not regret, Kingston," Jason shouted back, stepping forward. "Fear is not our truth, and you no longer have power here." The crowd began to rally once more, voices lifting in unison. "Together! Together!" They repeated the mantra as if it were a heartbeat, fueling Jason's resolve. It didn't matter what Kingston threatened, they were a tapestry woven together and could only grow stronger, more resilient. "Bring it on!" Emma challenged, her voice unwavering. The atmosphere crackled with renewed energy, the doubt washed away. Jason turned back to Lily, who was watching the scene unfold with wide-eyed determination. "You heard them, huh?" he said, and her small nod felt like a beacon of light. "I'm not scared, Dad," she said brightly, a fierce pride in her voice. "Good," Jason smiled, warmth flooding his chest. "None of us are." In that moment, they weren't just fighting for a community, they were fighting for a future, for the laughter and joy that defined their lives. The stories shared over pizza, the laughter echoing on movie nights, they were worth every risk. As Kingston's composure began to falter, Jason could almost see the cracks in his armor. The once powerful figure now appeared unsure, frustrated. And then, unexpectedly, Kingston stepped back, eyes widening at the strength of the crowd. "You'll rue this day!" he shouted, retreating slowly into the shadows. The crowd erupted in cheers, a chorus of liberation. "We won, back down!" someone shouted, and the energy shifted. They were pure electricity, the spark igniting a new day. Lily bounced on her feet, her small fingers clutching Jason's. "Did we really win, Daddy?" He knelt beside her, his heart fuller than any words could convey. "Yes, honey. We're just getting started." Emma turned to Jason, her expression kindling with a fresh determination. "We need to show them we're rising. This isn't just our win. It's for everyone who believes. We need a community gathering to share the truth." "Absolutely," Jason agreed. "And it'll begin with every home here. Everyone matters. We'll have each other's backs." As they stood together, hand in hand, Jason felt the warmth of hope envelop them all like the sun breaking through clouds after a storm. The darkness had tested them, but instead of fracturing beneath the weight, it had forged unbreakable bonds. The path ahead wasn't clear, but for the first time, a sense of clarity swept through him. With Lily's laughter still ringing in his ears and Emma's determination igniting a fire within him, he marched forward. They would rebuild together, turning the tides of adversity into something beautiful, echoing with the laughter and love they cherished. Together, Jason repeated, grinning wide. And, as they stepped back into their bustling community, he knew they were forging a new chapter, a powerful story of unity that would echo through their town, a story of hope prevailing against fear, boundless and unafraid. This, he realized, was the true essence of strength. Now, if you're feeling inspired, this is the moment to show your support. Subscribe immediately to the channel so you don't miss the next exclusive stories. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm and help others find these empowering tales. Comment below with your reactions and feelings about this ending, what it means to you or to someone you know. And remember, share instantly this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this transformation. Don't wait not even one more second to uplift others. Only true fans understand the importance of supporting the channel through these actions.